Welcome back to Definitely Not Definitive. I'm Ken.
And I'm Bethany.
And we're just a couple of wackadoos in love that love reacting to some Fallout.
You love saying that, don't
I do. It's just a fun game.
you? Put some oomph into that.
I did. And so this is the Storyteller Fallout. I got too excited for the wackadoos. Fallout series, season 2, episode 9, which is the AntAgonizer. I like that. And season 2, episode 10, Chems. All right, chemicals. Yeah, sure. Why not? If you want all of our Fallout reactions, check out the description of this video. We got a playlist there, as well as a link to our Patreon. We can get early ad-free access to our Fallout reactions. We're several weeks ahead in our Fallout reactions, so if you want to, get ahead with us, then go ahead and check that out.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready?
No.
Fucking A. I forgot again.
I really thought maybe you were just messing with me this time.
Wackadoos.
What is it? It's Fallout. So, of course, we have our drink, which is the Stimpack Spritzer, which would not be complete without a Stimpack. So you got to add that, mix it around a little bit, just, because that's a good idea.
I don't know what it is about Fallout. Like, it's not like all the other drinks I forget. It's just the Fallout. Like, I don't know.
You're just really excited to get to Fallout.
Uh-oh. Yeah, you should be scared of kids.
Whoa there, Edna. Calm down. I know you're not a fan of the little ones.
That was a proportionate response.
That was uncalled for. Sorry about that, kids. All right. I think I have a story or two in me. Out here in the West, most places have some form of law enforcement. Whether it's an army of Securitrons, a few men and women with badges, or a hard-working sheriff.
In the East, the capital wasteland doesn't have much government. Each little town has its own law. Most of them hire a mercenary to help keep the peace, but sometimes that isn't enough, and folk have to take the law into their own hands. As far back as 400 years ago, the dime novels and comic books told tales of masked vigilantes who fought for justice and righted wrongs. Eventually, it wasn't enough for these fictional characters to wear a mask. These superheroes needed crazy costumes and superhuman powers to fight crime. The superheroes fell out of favor over time, replaced by tales of barbarians, spacemen, and heroic soldiers. But companies like Hubris Comics kept printing the funny books until Armageddon came.
Among the Hubris lineup was Grognak the Barbarian.
Grognak.
He's a fan.
Modern readers know Grognak is a source of handy tips on sword fighting. But if you look past the action scenes, there are some good stories and characters hidden between the ads for X-ray glasses.
One of his old enemies was the AntAgonizer, a femme fatale who commanded an army of ants. And hundreds of years after that issue was published, a young girl in the town of Canterbury Commons must have come across that very book and taken it to heart.
Nice.
The citizens of Canterbury Commons liked to tell her tale to caravans who passed through the town, and there was an enclave outpost not too far away that captured video footage of her on occasion. Hers was a tale of sorrow. When Tanya Kristoff was just a girl, her parents were killed before her eyes by giant ants.
Damn.
While many people would have vowed vengeance against the six-legged creatures, Tanya realized that she had been spared. Nay, she had been chosen. She turned her back on humanity, seeking solace in the welcoming embrace of the ants. Humans are unpredictable, ungovernable, and most of all, self-destructive. But among the ants, she found her rightful place as queen.
Nice.
It might have been a mutation or advanced technology that allowed her to control them, but I suspect it was an act of sheer willpower. Once she had an army at her command, she created a suit of ant armor and dubbed herself the AntAgonizer. With high hopes and the relentless determination of an ant, she began her assault on humanity, starting with the people of Canterbury Commons in 2277. Giant ants can be pesky, but they're hardly able to outmatch a couple of well-armed mercs like the town had. And with the AntAgonizer always screaming melodramatic monologues, the townsfolk could hear her coming and get the drop on her bugs when they showed up. Despite her theatrics, she turned out to be more of an oddity than a menace. The trader caravans even considered her to be a source of entertainment. The townsfolk had something to break up the monotony of their days. But one man had enough of her villainous antics. A hero chose to fight back against the Formic felon. When Scott Walensky saw his fair city under siege by a nefarious temptress and her arthropod army, he assumed the mantle of the Mechanist. With his robot sidekicks, the Mechanist waged a never-ending crusade to defend the good people of Canterbury Commons against the creeping henchbugs of the AntAgonizer. But alas, the epic battles threatened to annihilate the very townsfolk that he fought to defend. The ants weren't so bad by themselves, but when the Mechanist added in a bunch of robots firing lasers up and down Main Street, well, things started to escalate.
Yeah.
They would fight to a standstill almost every time, and the AntAgonizer would run away, screaming, "You haven't seen the last of me, Mechanist." The townsfolk tried to get rid of them for months, but no one could find their secret lairs. The last time I was out east, they were still at it, disrupting the trade caravans that passed by the town. Both of them were just too proud to back down and wouldn't sacrifice
too much fun.
their superhuman identities, even for the common good. That's a shame, too. There are plenty of towns out there that could use a superhero. Places like New Reno, for instance. That's a place so full of sin and vice, you could trade a comic book for 15 minutes of...
That's a story for another day.
And another audience. Okay, that was fun. I liked the AntAgonizer and the Mechanist or whatever. Yeah, that was like some nice silly fun for the Fallout universe, which I think it needs every now and then.
It made me think of a Michael Crichton book I read called Micro, because in it, essentially, like, the people shrink down to the size of tiny bugs. But one of the most formidable dangers that they face are ants, because essentially their skin is like armor in the ant world. So like when she donned the ant armor, I was like, that's actually really smart, because if you have giant ants, they're somewhat indestructible to people or to creatures in the bug world. And the fact that, like, you're never just messing with one, you're messing with the entire colony. Even if you were able to pierce through their armor to actually win a fight, you're going to have like 50 ants on you within moments. So it was a pretty cool book to read, and it was fun to see kind of some parallels in this world. And I like the sort of, and it sounds ridiculous, but they dress up and they play costume.
Yeah, I know. It's
you know, end of the world, nuclear apocalypse. Why the hell not?
Yeah, I mean, guess they're kind of destroying the towns. That's why the hell not. But I mean, other than that, and the town's already pretty much destroyed. Come on.
I just found it hilarious that they always know she's coming because she does melodramatic monologues.
Yes. Really gets into the character.
Yes.
So gotta appreciate their method acting.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it was fun that, like, they frame it as the mechanics doing this to kind of like put a stop to her, but in reality, it seems like he just wants to get in on the fun.
Yeah, I think so too.
Supply and demand, the root of all economics. If you're dying of thirst, you'll pay whatever it takes for a bottle of Nuka-Cola. When you're out of ammo and facing down a mob of raiders, you'll hand over a whole crate of soda for a couple of shotgun shells. Those cons over there have a supply of recreational chemicals, and those fiends in the funny outfits, they're all hooked on chems. Supply and demand. Once you got a customer addicted to chems, you got a customer for life, however long that might be.
Probably not very long.
Most chems are based on pre-war medical supplies that once served some benevolent purpose. They can help the sick recover from injuries and illnesses. They can provide an edge in combat for those who bite off more than they can chew.
Light 'em up!
Then there are those who want to live fast and die young. They use them just for fun and in dangerous combinations. A dose of Mentats with a whiskey chaser, and it's party time. The problem for chem pushers is that pre-war meds are rare, and making your own requires lots of resources, plus an understanding of science. After the Great War, the dealers needed something that could be manufactured in the modern world using readily available materials. and not much gets manufactured anymore. About the most abundant resource the wasteland has is Brahmin. There's not many people with degrees in chemistry, but anyone can shovel Brahmin. About 40 years ago, a clever young man in New Reno discovered a way to turn that plentiful resource into a product that could be sold all over the wasteland. He was a boy genius, and if he had been born 300 years ago, he would probably been a distinguished doctor. In New Reno, he ended up helping the Mordino crime family make new chems out of anything that could be smoked, injected, or snorted.
Nice.
He learned that when Brahmin were fed certain protein extracts, their dung would give off peculiar fumes. Anyone inhaling that gas would get all hopped up and full of pep. Took him a while to get the formula just right. The graveyard outside of New Reno was full of test subjects who OD'd on the experimental formulas.
Oh my God.
Eventually, they figured out how to minimize the death risk, extend the effects, and even came up with a catchy name for their product. Jet. They delivered the first samples to workers in Redding. The goal? Gain control of the city by controlling the supply of the drug that feeds the miners' addiction. The drug also increased their productivity, but all the extra money they earned was just used to pay for more jet. That rush of energy only lasts about an hour, and after it wears off, the jet heads say it's like the world goes into high speed while you're standing still. It was just the thing a New Reno crime family needed to rise to power in that town. But calling the Mordinos a crime family isn't quite accurate. Back then, New Reno was a completely lawless place. Imagine New Vegas, but without Robert House and his Securitrons keeping the peace. And that's pretty much what Reno was like 40 years ago. Place isn't much better these days, though it's part of the NCR. The Van Graff family is mostly in charge now. Their arsenal of energy weapons gave them an edge against the other families. The secret to making jet has spread all the way out to the capital wasteland, so no single family controls the trade anymore. No one quite remembers the name of the kid who invented jet or what happened to him. He disappeared not long after jet addiction swept through New California. The Mordinos didn't let him out of his laboratory very often, but they did bring in some local working girls to keep the kid entertained, and a few of the older gals at the cat spa still remember servicing a pasty-faced teenage genius back in New Reno's heyday. Even though history has forgotten the lad's name, his creation lives on. Some enterprising chemists have even improved upon the product. The modern variety of jet is less addictive than the classic New Reno variety, and entrepreneurs have mixed it with everything from breakfast cereal to detergent in order to enhance the New Reno experience.
Yeah.
When a person is on jet, they feel invincible. Until it wears off and they need another fix. Those Securitrons will take out them strung-out jet jockeys. They're some of the best spots around. Present company accepted, of course. Although, when I was out east, I heard tales of robots so advanced that you couldn't even distinguish them from humans. Oh yeah, so lifelike in fact. Even they don't realize they aren't human. But that is a story for another day.
All right. I mean, I figured a post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland would definitely be right for people wanting to get high and forget about the problems and, or get an edge in this one's case. And yeah, so this was not surprising.
No, I think the only thing that really surprised me about it was the talk of how their source for it was originally like chemicals that were designed for a positive effect on the body that they were able to get so kind of wired off of. I mean, modern day pharmaceuticals, I think, yes, there are some that can be manipulated to create something really bad, but a lot of them, like, I don't think of being able to get high off of ibuprofen, so I just kind of found that an interesting origin for where the chems came from.
Yeah, but you gotta mix it up. I mean, you think about what was it, like Sudafed? You have to show your ID for it and everything like that because people are, you cut it up for meth. I'm sure they still do, but that's one of the reasons you have to. So it's not too far off from what people do now, and always looking for different way to alter reality.
Escape reality.
Yep. I did like every time he talked about the cow dung, it was a moo before he said shh.
Yes.
That was clever. That was fun. Let us know what you thought about this down below in the comments. And if you want early ad-free access to our Fallout reactions, we're several weeks ahead. Go ahead and check out the description of this video because we got a link to our Patreon there, as well as a link for a playlist for all of our Fallout reactions here on YouTube. Thanks so much for checking out our reaction for Fallout Season 2, Episode 9 and 10, but just keep in mind
that our reaction is definitely not definitive.